Madison's heels clicked on the hardwood as she strutted to the door, the scent of some stranger's cologne wafting in her wake. She didn't even glance at me as she tossed her phone into her purse, her lips curled into a smug little smile that made my blood run cold. "I'm going out tonight." "Don't wait up," she said, her voice sugar-sweet but sharp as broken glass. I stood in the doorway, blocking her path. My pulse was pounding. I kept my tone icy calm, but my hands were shaking with rage. "Madison, if you walk out that door, don't bother coming back." She stopped. She looked me up and down, like she was sizing up someone she'd already decided was beneath her. Then, she laughed. Not just a chuckle, a full, mocking cackle. "Jake, please. Don't make this dramatic. I'll do what I want." With that, she shoved past me. The door slammed so hard a picture fell off the wall. I stared at the door, knowing in my gut this was the moment everything changed. This wasn't just another night out. This was the endgame. You want to know the truth? That night, I felt something snap. It was as if every suspicion, every sleepless night, every humiliating excuse she'd given me for months just detonated inside me. All those girls' nights that never showed up in her Insta stories. All those text messages from work friends she wouldn't let me see. The perfume that didn't belong to her, the receipts for dinners at places we'd never been together. I wasn't stupid, I just hadn't wanted to believe it. But tonight, I finally believed. And for once, I wasn't going to let her gaslight me or make me beg for scraps of respect. I walked over to the window, peered through the blinds, and saw her get into a black BMW that wasn't hers. I snapped a photo. Proof. My phone buzzed in my hand, an unknown number, a message, "We on our way. Ready?" My stomach turned to ice. That wasn't for her. That was for me. Somehow, she'd gotten so cocky she was careless, and in her carelessness, she'd slipped up. This was my chance. Minutes passed. I paced the house, every nerve on edge. I thought about the years I'd wasted, the times I defended her to my friends, the way she'd laughed in my face when I asked for the truth. I heard her voice in my head, "You're so paranoid, Jake. Why can't you trust me?" All a lie. My friend Chris called. "You good, man?" I swallowed the lump in my throat. "Chris, get over here. Bring your camera. I'm done playing nice." I grabbed a spare set of keys, my wallet, and the little voice recorder I'd picked up weeks ago on a hunch. Tonight, if Madison wanted to play games, she was going to lose. And I wasn't just going to watch, I was going to make sure she couldn't talk her way out of it this time. Hours ticked by. Midnight. 1 a.m. 2 a.m. I sat in the dark, phone in hand, replaying every sign I'd ignored. When Madison finally came home, stumbling in with mascara smeared and that same smug smile, I was waiting. She flinched when she saw me. I stepped forward, recorder in my pocket, camera rolling on the shelf. "So, Madison, did you have a good night? Did he treat you better than I ever could?" She tried to brush past me. But this time, I wasn't backing down. Tonight, I'd catch her in her lies. Tonight, I'd finally take back control. She tried to keep walking, but I blocked her with a single look. For the first time, Madison seemed to sense that things weren't going to play out like every other argument. No more shouting, no more her rolling her eyes and storming off to our bedroom. This time, the energy was different. She hesitated, eyes darting to my phone on the table, then back to me. "Get out of my way, Jake," she spat, dropping her purse with a clatter. "I'm tired. I don't have to answer to you." But I didn't move. I could hear my own heartbeat. The house felt 10 degrees colder. "Who's Tony?" I asked, voice flat as a dead line. "And don't lie, Madison. I know everything." She flinched, just for a second, then plastered on that familiar fake smile, like she was starring in some cheap soap opera. "Tony? Seriously? You're so desperate for drama, you're making up people now." My grip tightened on the keys in my pocket. I tapped my phone screen, pulling up the photo I'd snapped earlier, her, outside, climbing into the BMW. You really want to play that game? I showed her the picture. She froze. Who the hell do you think you are, Jake? Her voice sharpened, ugly and loud. You stalking me now? Are you that pathetic? Answer the question, I pressed, calm but ice cold. Who's Tony? Who was in that car? She turned away, crossing her arms like a petulant teenager. He's just a friend. God, you're such a control freak. You wonder why I don't want to be around you anymore. Look at you, standing there, acting like you're some victim. That's when the rage threatened to boil over. I wanted to scream. I wanted to smash something, anything. But I didn't. I just took a deep breath and forced myself to keep my voice low. I'm not a victim, I said. But I'm not your doormat, either. She scoffed, strutting into the kitchen and grabbing a glass from the cupboard, slamming it down hard enough that I thought it might break. What, you want to talk about respect now? After years of you putting me last, never listening, never caring about what I want? I almost laughed at how absurd it sounded. Madison, twisting everything like she always did, making me out to be the villain in her story, rewriting the past so she never had to take the blame. But I wasn't going to let her rewrite this night. That's your excuse? I asked. You want to cheat on me because you feel unloved? She didn't answer, just glared at me over the rim of her glass. I'm not doing this, Jake. I'm not. Go cry to your little friends if you want sympathy. For a second, the silence between us was brutal. I stared at her, this stranger who wore my wife's face, wondering how we'd ended up here, me, alone in my own house, being gaslit and lied to like some idiot. Then my phone vibrated, a message from Chris, outside. Ready? I turned, feeling a strange calm settle over me. You know what, Madison? You're right. We're not doing this. Not your way. I grabbed my jacket, walked to the door, and looked back at her one last time. If you're so desperate to be with someone else, don't let me stop you. Just know this is the last time you're walking back through that door as my wife. She actually laughed, raising her glass in a mock toast. Finally, you get it. I closed the door behind me. Outside, Chris was waiting by his car, camera in hand. His eyes widened as he saw my face. You good? He asked. I nodded. Tonight, I'm getting proof. No more games. As we drove off into the night, one thing was crystal clear, my marriage was over. But I wasn't going out quietly. If Madison wanted chaos, she was about to get a storm. Chris didn't ask any more questions as we sped through empty streets, the city lights flickering off the windshield. He knew what this meant, what it felt like when the last thread snapped. I watched the notifications on my phone pile up, mostly silence from Madison, but a few scattered texts from her friends. Is everything okay? And, Madison said you're being weird. None of them had any idea what was about to hit. I gave Chris the details, Tony, the BMW, Madison's lies, the night's ultimatum. He just nodded, flipping his camera on. You sure you want to do this? He asked, glancing sideways at me. I answered without hesitation, if I don't, she'll walk all over me forever. I need to know. I need her to know I'm done playing the fool. Chris drove us straight to a downtown club I'd heard her mention before, some new spot called Velvet, always crawling with people even on weeknights. We parked across the street and waited. The rain started coming down, smearing the neon lights into streaks on the windshield. I watched the entrance, half numb, half burning with a fury I'd never felt before. At 2:20 a.m., Madison finally came out, arm in arm with a tall, slick-haired guy in a leather jacket. I didn't need an introduction to know that was Tony. She was laughing, head thrown back, letting him lead her down the sidewalk like she was 16 again and out past curfew. Chris started snapping pictures, silent and methodical. You want to confront her now? He asked quietly. My fists clenched. I wanted to storm across the street. Drag her away, yell at her, demand answers in front of everyone. But I forced myself to stay put. No drama. No spectacle. I needed more than just a scene, I needed proof, something undeniable, so she couldn't worm her way out of it like she always did. Instead, I watched as they disappeared into Tony's car, doors slamming, her laughter echoing in the night. A part of me died right then, a heavy, ugly part that had clung to hope, to some tiny chance she'd come back to me, apologize, beg for forgiveness. That part was gone, replaced by a hard, ice-cold resolve. We followed at a distance, Chris's camera rolling, my mind racing. They drove across town, pulling up to a cheap motel, a cliché so obvious it almost made me laugh. She wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. I snapped a dozen photos from the shadows as they went inside, hands all over each other. That image is burned into my brain. Even now, I can still see it, Madison, the woman I gave everything to, locking lips with some guy she'd probably known for weeks. I stood there in the rain, every nerve raw, every muscle in my body ready to snap. Chris put a hand on my shoulder. "You did what you had to do, man," he said, voice low. "You have proof. Don't go in there. Don't give her a show." I nodded, numb. I knew he was right. What would be the point? She'd already made her choice, and I'd made mine. We waited until Tony's car was gone and Madison slipped out the back door, head down, looking guilty for the first time all night. I filmed her, silent. I wanted to scream, to cry, to smash something, but all I could do was watch. When I finally got home, she was already there, back in our bed, pretending to sleep, as if nothing had happened. I stood in the doorway, watching her for a long minute. The woman I loved was gone, replaced by someone who could lie, cheat, and then crawl back under my roof like it was nothing. I didn't say a word. I just went to the guest room, locked the door, and let the anger churn until the sun came up. Tomorrow, I'd confront her. But tonight, I let the storm rage inside me, quiet, cold, and absolute. I barely slept. My mind kept replaying every second, her laughing in that parking lot, the way she pressed up against Tony, how easy it was for her to walk out and betray me without a shred of guilt. As the first pale light crept through the blinds, I stared at the ceiling, numb but wired, rehearsing what I'd say, how I'd say it, knowing there was no going back. At 7 a.m., the smell of coffee wafted down the hall. Madison was in the kitchen, humming some pop song, acting as if nothing happened. She was scrolling her phone, face lit up with fake innocence. For a split second, I wondered how many times she'd lied right to my face and gotten away with it. This morning, she wouldn't. I walked in, set my phone on the table, and met her eyes. "Rough night?" I asked, keeping my tone casual. She looked up, cool as ever. "Not really. You seemed in a mood, so I stayed out. Needed some fun." I almost smiled at the audacity. "Yeah, I saw you had a good time. Tony seems like a fun guy." Her mask slipped for half a second, eyes darted, lips pressed tight. But then she recovered, leaned back, and shrugged. "Are we really doing this, Jake? Are you going to grill me about every single person I meet?" I tapped my phone. "I saw you. I know everything. I saw you at Velvet. I saw the motel. I have pictures, Madison. Don't insult me with more lies." She stared, stone-faced, as if daring me to back down. "You followed me?" Her voice was sharp, wounded, but it was all theater. "That's real healthy, Jake. Real mature. Spying on your wife like some psycho." "I'm not spying. I'm surviving," I shot back. "I had to see the truth because you wouldn't give it to me." She rolled her eyes. "Fine, you caught me. Are you happy now? Is that what you wanted? Proof? Congratulations, you win the prize. So what now, Jake? Are you going to cry, throw me out, call my parents?" The venom in her words nearly stunned me, but I kept steady. "No, I'm done crying. I'm done being the fool. I want the truth. How long has this been going on? She snorted. A couple months. Maybe more. What do you care? You checked out of this marriage a long time ago, Jake. Always working late, never listening, never noticing me. Tony noticed. He made me feel alive again. Her words hit hard, but not for the reasons she thought. It wasn't pain I felt, it was disgust. She actually believed her betrayal was my fault, that she was the victim here. I'd heard enough. So, what now? I asked quietly. You want to move in with Tony? You want me to pack your bags? She laughed, a cruel, joyless sound. Maybe I do. Or maybe I just want you to man up for once and fight for me. That was the moment it all crystallized. Madison didn't want a husband, she wanted someone to manipulate, to blame, to prop her up when she got bored. I saw it so clearly then. The pity, the regret, even the heartbreak, they all vanished, replaced by a cold, hard certainty. I looked her dead in the eye. I'm not fighting for you, Madison. Not anymore. I'm fighting for myself. She stared at me, lips twitching with fury, realizing she'd lost her grip. But I was done. I picked up my phone, grabbed my keys, and left the house, letting the door swing shut behind me. Outside, I finally felt something close to freedom. The weight of her lies, her games, her contempt, it all started to lift. For the first time in months, maybe years, I knew exactly what I had to do. Next stop, the lawyer's office. Madison wanted a war, she had no idea I'd show up ready to win it. The air outside hit different, sharp, cold, but cleansing. I sat in my car, hands gripping the wheel, heart pounding as reality set in. No more denial. No more hoping she'd change. It was over. I called Chris and told him everything that happened. He just listened, didn't say much, then finally, you know what you gotta do, Jake. Don't let her twist it. Take care of yourself first. He was right. I drove straight to the law offices of Graham and Tucker, feeling more nervous than I had on our wedding day. The receptionist greeted me, and when I explained why I was there, her eyes softened. Mr. Carter, you're not alone. Happens more often than you think. That was weirdly comforting, and tragic. After a short wait, I sat down with Ms. Tucker, a woman who looked like she'd chewed up and spit out a dozen Madisons in her career. She listened while I laid out the whole story, showing her the photos, the texts, the receipts, every piece of evidence. She didn't flinch, just nodded and took notes. Jake, you've got everything you need, she said. We'll start the paperwork today. She'll be served soon. In California, the court doesn't care about fault, but this'll make negotiations easier. The process felt both freeing and brutal. I signed forms, authorized background checks, gave details about our accounts, property, everything. Each signature was like a nail in the coffin of a life I'd built on a lie. But I felt stronger with every page. Walking out of that office, I was lighter, but my anger had sharpened into something else, purpose. I wasn't going to let Madison spin her web, turn friends against me, or claim she was the victim. Not this time. I called my mom on the drive home, bracing for her heartbreak. She was silent for a long moment after I told her. Then, her voice broke, I'm so sorry, honey. But I'm proud of you. You're doing the right thing. Don't let her back in. Not after this. By the time I pulled into our driveway, Madison's car was gone. I didn't care where she went, Tony's, probably, or out with her friends to play the martyr. I took the chance to pack up her things, stuffed every bit of her junk into boxes, set them by the door, and changed the locks. I even took down our wedding photos, all the memories that felt fake now, dropping them into a drawer I'd never open again. The silence in the house was almost soothing, like a deep breath after years of choking. I ordered pizza, cracked a beer, and put on some music that Madison always hated, loud, angry, freeing. It felt good to take back the space. But the next morning, the storm hit. Madison banged on the door, shrieking like a banshee, demanding I let her in. This is my house too. You can't just lock me out. I stayed calm, opened the door just a crack. Your stuff's outside. The lawyer will be in touch. She tried every angle, anger, tears, even begging. You're throwing away everything for one mistake? Her crocodile tears didn't move me. I was done being played. Then her attitude flipped in a second. Fine. You want a war? You'll get one. You're gonna regret this, Jake. I'll take you for everything. Her words barely registered. I slammed the door and locked it, letting her scream to the empty neighborhood. Chris called 5 minutes later, laughing when he heard the whole scene. You did good, man. Don't let her get in your head. She'll try every trick, but she's already lost. I hung up and finally, felt like my life was my own again. I knew it would get messy before it got better, but for the first time, I was ready to face it head-on. The first week after Madison was locked out was pure chaos, a storm of threats, guilt trips, and desperate phone calls. She went from rage to fake tears to manipulative sweet talk, sometimes in the same breath. I ignored her messages, let her voicemails pile up, and only answered calls from my lawyer or Chris. It was wild how quickly someone you once loved could turn into a total stranger, a dangerous one. She tried every angle to get back in. On Tuesday, I caught her trying to sweet-talk my neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, into giving her a spare key. Mrs. Jenkins, bless her, called me straight away. Jake, she's outside acting real dramatic. Want me to call the cops? I thanked her and said I'd handle it. Instead, I stepped outside and told Madison, flat and final, it's over. The only person you should call is your lawyer. That night, she plastered Facebook with posts painting herself as the wounded wife. Can't believe the man I trusted turned on me. After everything I did for him, she wrote, tagging mutual friends and even my mom. I didn't take the bait. Chris called, cackling, bro, she's really laying it on thick. Don't respond. Don't give her an inch. I listened. I focused on the paperwork, on the facts. Madison wasn't giving up quietly, she contested every single point, demanded the house, the car, the dog, everything she could claim. Ms. Tucker handled her like a pro, shutting down her wildest demands with ice-cold logic. Every time I thought Madison would back off, she just found a new angle to attack. I'm entitled, she'd scream over the phone. You owe me for ruining my life. But each tantrum made me feel more certain I was making the right move. For so long, I'd let her rewrite reality, bend the truth, make me the villain. Now, every one of her public meltdowns made her look worse and made me feel stronger. One night, Madison showed up drunk, pounding on the door, tears streaming down her face. Just let me talk, Jake. Let me in. We can fix this. I stood in the hallway, breathing deep, remembering every betrayal, every laugh she'd shared with Tony. I opened the door just enough to see her, mascara running, rage and desperation all over her face. There's nothing left to fix, I said quietly. You made your choice. Now live with it. She tried to push past me, shoving her hand against my chest, but I stood firm. Get out, Madison. I mean it. I'm not going to warn you again. She broke then, for real, sagging against the wall, sobbing, cursing me, herself, everyone. For a split second, I saw the woman I married, broken and lost. But I didn't give in. I couldn't. I just closed the door and let her cries fade into silence. After that, things shifted. She realized she couldn't control me anymore, couldn't crawl back with a fake apology. She started getting nastier in court filings, spreading lies to anyone who'd listen, dragging my name through the mud. But I didn't care. My friends stood by me, my family finally saw the truth, and Chris, as always, kept reminding me, you're free, Jake. Don't let her drag you down. Some nights, the anger still burned hot, at her, at myself for not seeing it sooner. But more and more, I felt relief. I cleaned the house, got rid of all her junk, and slowly reclaimed my life. I started sleeping again, eating real meals, hitting the gym, remembering what it felt like to be alive. The biggest surprise? I wasn't sad anymore. I was just done. Done with her, done with the drama, done letting anyone treat me like an afterthought. It wasn't easy. But it was worth it. Divorce hearings are nothing like you see on TV. There's no dramatic courtroom shouting, just cold paperwork, lawyers talking numbers, and the hollow clink of pens signing away years of your life. Madison showed up to every meeting in her best outfit, sunglasses on, smirk locked in place, acting like the whole thing was beneath her. She barely glanced at me, except to roll her eyes or toss some snide remark about how relieved she was to finally be rid of me. She tried every trick in the book, tears in front of the mediator, fake stories about how I neglected her, even claiming that Tony was just a business partner who happened to be there when she needed emotional support. Her lies were almost impressive. Ms. Tucker shut her down with cold facts, emails, receipts, and the mountain of evidence Chris and I had collected. Every time Madison's voice rose, Ms. Tucker would calmly ask for clarification, her tone making it clear Madison's games weren't working. For the first time, Madison was cornered. The more she talked, the less convincing she sounded. The judge saw through her act. When she realized her emotional blackmail wasn't landing, she got meaner, then desperate. She tried to drag Tony into it. He actually showed up one day, thinking he'd play the hero. Instead, he wound up looking like an idiot when my lawyer hit him with questions he couldn't answer. Watching Madison squirm, seeing her facade crack, should have felt good. But honestly, it was just sad. I realized the person I'd loved was gone long before Tony ever showed up. She was nothing but a performer now, angry the spotlight was fading. I stopped caring about winning. I just wanted it finished. The hearings dragged on for weeks. I let Ms. Tucker handle the details, ignoring Madison's last-ditch texts and late-night voicemails. She tried to get me to meet her alone, probably to beg, or manipulate, or explode one more time. I never replied. I was beyond it all. In the middle of it, I got a text from Chris, "Proud of you, man. Nearly out. Beer soon." That made me smile for the first time in months. My family finally started to understand. My mom apologized for doubting me. My brother, who always thought Madison was a firecracker, admitted he was wrong. "She's poison, Jake. You're better off. You look lighter already." Madison's friends stopped calling. The more she spun her stories, the fewer people listened. She wasn't used to losing control. One night, she showed up at the house, drunk, mascara streaked, begging to talk. I stood behind the locked screen door and told her, calm as ever, "It's over, Madison. Stop coming here. We're done." She screamed, cursed me out, but finally, for the first time, she left without a fight. A week later, it was all official, signed, stamped, over. The judge awarded her a chunk of our savings, but I kept the house, the car, and most importantly, my dignity. I watched her walk out of the courtroom for the last time, shoulders hunched, rage burning holes in the back of her dress. As soon as I stepped outside, Chris was waiting by the curb, holding up 2 beers like a trophy. "Freedom, brother." We sat on the tailgate of his truck, laughing about everything, her ridiculous demands, Tony's dumb haircut, the sheer relief of being done. It felt like breathing for the first time in years. No more lies, no more walking on eggshells, no more Madison. The nightmare was finally over. All that was left was to build something better, something real. But I wasn't bitter. I just felt clean. And for the first time in forever, I was actually excited about what came next. It's strange how quickly life settles into a new normal after a storm. The first days without Madison were silent, but it was a good kind of quiet, the kind that doesn't need to apologize or explain itself. I woke up early, actually looking forward to the day for once. The bitterness that used to cling to my mornings was gone, replaced by a clean slate. My house felt bigger, the air lighter, like someone had finally thrown open the windows after years of suffocating smoke. Chris and I hit the gym, grabbed beers, and joked about setting me up on a dating app, only swipe right on women who hate BMWs and expensive perfume, he laughed. For the first time, I laughed back and meant it. The old me, the version of Jake who was always suspicious, always second-guessing, always wondering what new lie Madison would spin, started to fade away. I reclaimed my space, my routines, my sense of self. But there were moments when the hurt would creep back in, random flashes, like walking by a restaurant where Madison and I used to eat, or hearing a song she loved on the radio. I let myself feel it for a minute, but I didn't get stuck there. The pain was real, but it didn't own me anymore. I was free. The relief was something I hadn't realized I was desperate for until it actually happened. I started reconnecting with old friends, the ones Madison always found a reason to dislike. They welcomed me back with open arms, and it was like no time had passed. My mom called more, inviting me over for dinner, genuinely happy to see me smile again. Even my boss at work noticed the change. "You seem lighter, Jake. Whatever you're doing, keep it up." A few weeks after the divorce, I ran into Tony at the grocery store. He looked a mess, hair unwashed, eyes sunken. He tried to act tough, but the guilt was written all over him. "Hey, man," he muttered, not able to meet my gaze. I just shrugged, walked right past him, and didn't look back. That chapter was closed. No point reopening old wounds for someone who never deserved my respect. Madison tried one more time, sent a long, rambling text about starting over, how she was confused and didn't realize what she lost. I didn't even reply. She was someone else's problem now. For the first time, I truly felt nothing for her. No hate, no anger, not even pity. Just nothing. That's when I knew I'd finally won. I wish I could say I came out the other side completely unscathed, but the truth is, betrayal changes you. You learn the hard way who you are, what you'll tolerate, and what you deserve. I'd lost a wife, but I'd gained something far more valuable, my self-respect. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see a man who went through hell and walked out stronger. I don't let people walk all over me. I don't second-guess my instincts. And I sure as hell don't apologize for demanding honesty. If I could give anyone advice, it's this: don't let anyone convince you their lies are your fault. Don't waste time trying to fix someone who's determined to stay broken. The second someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. I won't pretend I have all the answers, but I know I'll never settle for less again. There's a whole world out there beyond betrayal and heartbreak. And for the first time in years, I'm finally ready to live it on my terms. No more lies, no more games, just real, raw life. That's my story. If you're in the same boat, don't waste another second on someone who doesn't value you. Take back your power. Walk away, and don't look back.